What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus, and it is November 16th, and even international break, always have a ton to talk about. I'm very happy to have Omer with me today. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning. How are you? Yeah, international break. Bloody international break.
Yeah,
What can we
these.
do? Gotta talk football once a week.
Oh, yeah. We can't just go without until the whole thing rides out here. But we will talk about the Azzurri. But we got a lot in the Juve world that went down. And we will, of course, go through it all. But first, it is fight weekend. We had a fight there yesterday. I wouldn't even really call it a fight. I think it was more so a lot of people hoping for some nostalgia. But not the case anyways. But it does bring me our first question, our first fun question for everybody that's going to be tuning in and yourself, Omer, and that is a player, a football player. It could be present, could be past, that you would not want to run into in a dark alley that wanted to fight you. Somebody that you're just like, okay, no, thank you. If he was at that point where he wanted to throw hands.
Hmm. Okay, I have a few names um for different reasons, probably.
All right.
First one, like in a dark alley, for some reason, Arturo Vidal.
Vidal, okay.
Vidal, yeah, he always looked like a maniac. Yeah, I wouldn't want to cross his path or get on bad terms with him. Gattuso is a good answer. When I was young, I was terrified of Jan Koller. Do you remember Jan Koller?
Yeah.
The Dortmund striker. He was, maybe because I was a kid and I was small and he looked like a giant. He was above 2 meters. I was terrified of
Vidic.
him. Just bald headed, huge guy. And maybe now Milinkovic Savic, Venya, the brother.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
he came
got
from
a couple
from
guys that
Juventus.
immediately, when we were talking about this, popped out to my head. Roy Keane, that's probably a good shout.
Mhm.
I think you could probably throw Cantona in there, considering he jump ninja kicked a dude in the crowd that
Yeah.
wasn't even playing against him. But
Mhm.
one was Vinny Jones, because he's just a psycho. And
Oh yeah, he's an absolute psycho.
when you were watching his stuff on the field, you're just like, my God, if he's doing this in actual like restricted situations with sport, yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
one guy. Another was probably Jaap Stam for me, man. Like
Oh yeah,
oh my
terrifying.
God, man. And there you
Terrifying.
go. Daniel throwing in Jaap Stam as well. Those would be the guys. We got a
Hmm.
shout for Oliver Kahn there. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's always interesting to see those guys who you feel is kind of like, no, thank you, want no part of that. But
No.
that's yeah, just fun, just a little fun question for fight weekend before we
Mhm.
get into the actual news. Okay, so we are gonna get into quite a bit, as quite a bit went down this past week, and the first was getting the actual news on Paul Pogba, and a situation that we knew was coming for quite some time. And yeah, we get the termination. It's done. So Juve has been, and this is kind of the theme, as you could see in the header. There is another strong stance from Giuntoli, and he's got several that have kind of gone on, and now we see some continuations with certain other elements. But it feels like anything tied to the previous regime or management, he just can't get rid of quick enough. And this might be one of those scenarios. We asked everybody in the chat here on a poll, you know, did Juventus make the right decision with Pogba to just outright terminate, not even wait for him to train in January, potentially play in March? 71% right now currently in favor of yes, Juventus made the right decision. Omar, your thoughts on finally us hearing that it is in fact terminated, the official announcement even made by
Mhm.
Juventus yesterday?
Well, as much as I love Pogba, 100% absolutely the right decision, the right call. And maybe, yeah, like I said, Juntoli has an issue with everything related to the previous management. And yeah, they did a lot of mistakes. I mean, he wouldn't have probably signed Pogba. If they do sign him, I don't, not even money wise, like what are you going to get? What are you
Yeah.
going to get if you want to go for like top senior football, full on athleticism, and a guy who hasn't managed to play 2 games in a row for what 3 years now?
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you, Pogba. Love you. You were phenomenal. It just ain't it anymore, and you have absolutely done the right decision. Pogba is being a good sport about it. Doesn't seem sulky or anything. He kind of understands, just based on what he posted.
Yeah, it's I think I'm guessing that's before he actually did unfollow Juve and everything, but it is what it is. I would have liked them to maybe attempt to get something out of it, but again, at this point, I can understand them also just saying, you know what? It's another headache from a time that is already gone that we're just trying to move forward from. So I totally get it. It is what it is. It's sad for the history of Paul Pogba, but for this current tenure, the second, the 2.0, it's not sad at all.
Could
And
not have
it just
ended earlier.
yeah, it's just it's obviously far from what anybody would have wanted to see. But yeah, I'm actually surprised that they waited as long as they did and whatnot. He was always going to get something. It was never going to be completely revoked, and that gave them, the right to terminate completely. But they let it play it out, and maybe that was in a way a little bit more beneficial for the player than to just get dumped immediately when it went down. So yeah,
You
there's
know what I
always that.
wish? I wish it'd go to some middle table club in France or even Netherlands, and just some level that he can play at, and that the physicality doesn't require too much, and it's 1 game a week and stuff. So we'll get some more of the Pogba magic and have some more clips to look at, because he's a beautiful player to watch. He's just captivating. That's what I liked about him. I wish he'd find somewhere to play with a certain level that he can still shine,
Yeah,
and we get a few more glimpses of Pogba.
yeah, when he does play, it is great to
Hmm.
watch. It was great to watch, anyways. So we'll see what happens, but nonetheless, Juventus has moved on, and that's another stance, a strong one from Giuntoli, and there was no going back on it. Gatti, contract extension close to finalized, should be done and official before Christmas. All right, so that's it with Gatti. Apparently, he was trying to go for 2030 for the term, and I believe the club wants to go to 2029. So we're waiting for the details there. Injury rundown. Nico will still be out for the Milan match, according to the reports over the past couple days. Douglas Luiz should be back in the squad list. Cope Miners with a beautiful little claim there in a brief interview and a little blurb there, just stating that he has not shown all his qualities yet. He is just getting into good physical shape for himself, and he says, I will show you them. I like
Hmm.
it. I like him. I haven't had an issue with anything he's done so far. The guy's got confidence in himself. I like it, and I think honestly, if you're watching, I'm not one of those that believe there's been any issues there. I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm thinking it's just a matter of time before the floodgates open, and he's doing everything right. So I love hearing him have this type of backing for himself, and also being able to say like, look, I haven't shown you everything of what I got so far, but it's coming. It's coming. But again, I'm fine with it because I haven't had any problems. I think he's clearly the only complete player in our midfield. But when you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. So he might have put a little bit more on his plate there from the fans that are maybe a little bit frustrated in what he's brought so far. Do you think he put a little bit more of a target on himself?
No, because I think it's such, I don't know if it's generic, but I've heard this answer before. I think we heard it from Chiesa when he came back from injury, and it's not the first time I'm hearing that. I'm not at 100% yet. I've got more to give. I'm at 70. I'm at 60. Okay, cool. More incentive for him to work harder and show us more of what he's got. Apparently, the injury was, uh, as reported, he really had trouble, getting out of bed. He really took a blow to the ribs, and he really suffered. So yeah, he's probably building himself back up and gaining the confidence. Maybe he does have a little bit of pain left, but either way, I'm not disappointed with him. I think he's doing great, and floodgates, no floodgates. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he'll get on the score sheet, and and he's just a good player, and he will be good, and he is good for Juve right now. As for Gatti, yeah, more of that. Phenomenal. I like it.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for the Gatti extension. I think he's made a tremendous leap this season already. Again,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully the consistency stays and it moves on. Obviously, we'll get to Gatti as he and Kalulu are our 1A options right now. Again, another strong stance coming from Juntoli. And this all kind of goes with this injury report as we continue. Obviously, Cabal. So this international break, very early on into this international break, Cabal goes down, torn ACL. That was the fear. It did get confirmed upon his return to Italy, and his season is over. So first off, best of luck to him. Nice words in support from Perin yesterday to Juan Cabal. And of course, you'd be getting it from other teammates as well. It's just Perin's message was really, really nice, looked well thought out, and not just your typical crap that's laid out there. Cabal going out, we get reimbursement because it's on international break. We get 1.7 million euros. That's the remainder of his salary for this from here on out to the end of the season. However, you don't get that until the player actually physically returns. So, in a situation where you lose, this was Cabal, who's on 2.1, 2.2 million per season. But in a situation where you had your higher player that gets 10 mil a season or something, you're not going to get that until he returns. So if you had to go and act, you've got no financial backing or reimbursement that actually steps in for you to make a move when you actually can and the window's open. It's just kind of a funny way that they do it. But I can see why, because let's say he gets back ahead of schedule, they don't want to pay you out for the remainder, which they could just get back if that was the case. But nonetheless, it's a little bit of funny way how it runs. Injuries. A lot of fans in uproar every time this goes down. Unfortunately, it goes down quite a bit for us, just injuries in general. But international break, what sucks about it is there's literally nothing you can do as a club because you have the fans that state, don't send your players on international. It's completely up to the players. The club's got nothing to do with this. Like, your hands are tied. If your players get the call, it's up to them whether they answer the call. So with this whole thing, even if you want to talk ACLs and everybody wants to talk about more games, etc., I truly feel they have no idea what is going on in terms of preventing or what. And I still feel, I know the number of ACLs in general is up. I still don't tie it necessarily to straight up just too many games. I think there's way more to it. I think knees are just a strange beast. I'm not going to put it on overload, and Cabal doesn't fit that mold. If you look at minutes played and you want to put him on too many games, he doesn't fit that mold either. You're always going to get contradictions in a bunch of different directions. But this whole thing with too many games and all this, I still feel, and you know, because I've said it a million times, I feel like the players are heading towards some type of a union or some type of action, because they do feel personally it's way too much, and they do feel that it's related to how much they play. But Omer, just your general thoughts on international breaks, the injuries, it feels like this is all the time with us, year in, year out, and that's two ACLs now. That's Bremer and that's Cabal.
Oh, I don't know what I am anymore. Angry, frustrated. I'm kind of furious, but kind of used to it right now. Like it's something that was expected at a certain point, and I don't think any player can be considered safe. Any youngster, every match I'm sort of terrified of when it's going to happen to again to one of our players, especially the guys who play a lot. What if it happens to Dushan right now? What
Yeah.
if it happens to Cambiasso? That's a genuine fear I have every match and especially every international break. Um, we've discussed it too much, too much. So I'm not going to go repeat myself and my thoughts about it and the number of matches. Just the type of game that the way football is played today with such high intensity and everybody doing all the job and everyone is defending and everyone is attacking and the other team that they're like some teams you just watch them play and it doesn't seem human the amount that they run and they press, so the game requires a lot more physicality and coming back from an ACL nowadays I think it's a lot harder. It actually is ruining careers at an early stage because once you can't, let's use Chiesa again. Once you can't do what you were best at, that's the type of game we have today. And if you can't fit that in and you're too afraid to make certain movements, then you're just not going to make it. It was easier back in the day, just, look at stats of like miles per match for players. It was more suitable for a player like Del Piero or Ronaldo to have ACLs and come back and find a way without those bursting runs and those quick turns. And I feel like it's like now it's kind of impossible.
Yeah.
And and with more matches comes less training, so the trainings you do have become much harder because you have to run more in every match. So it's not only the matches that amplify the load on your knees. Training amongst them, it's not enough rest for the body. I don't know. I'm furious. I'm frustrated with it, and I've had enough. We had every season now. It's every season we get
Every
someone
year,
lose
it feels like the same damn thing. So
every fucking year.
obviously, in a straight up instance, if there are more games, of course, there will be more injuries, more possible opportunities. Yes. What I'm saying, I should have been more clear. I don't believe it's strictly an overload thing to the muscles around the knee, etc. Like I really don't think. I think there's more to it. I think there's, and I'm just, I've gotten into this in our team chat, in the member chat. I feel there's a lot more to it in terms of recovery, in terms of nagging little things that might be putting more strain on something else and something else overcompensating. Guys push through a lot of knocks, a lot of little things, and I think it's more to it than just straight up overload, personally. Especially when you look at guys, certain guys that have played a ton throughout their entire careers that just haven't had knee injuries, that would be prime candidates. I still think back to Cristiano Ronaldo's header against Sampdoria and how he landed and how his knee didn't completely explode is insane to me. Okay? But again, that's a guy that is top level when you're talking everything. Recovery, how he treats his body, all this. I think there's a lot more to it than just straight up the games.
Well,
Um,
of course there is. Of course there is.
yeah.
And depending on the position you play, I mean, Bremer could get back to his best. At the position he plays in, he could be Bremer again and kind of brush that aside. Cabal too, I believe. But now it becomes detrimental to our season. Those injuries might have ruined our season. It ruined our budget because now we have to go buy players in January that we didn't plan on.
Well, we got to talk about that. That's where we really got to get to, because the strong stance continues from Juntali. Absolutely no free agency. Absolutely nothing. And loan returns? Absolutely none. I was saying you were potentially at a position to look at two defenders previously because you want to say goodbye to Danilo. You still want to say goodbye to Danilo, and you've lost Cabal and you've lost Bremer. For me, you had this international break. This happened very early with Cabal. You could have had almost 2 weeks. And again, I'm going to state my case why I think a free agent wouldn't have been the end of the world. I understand in terms of quality, you're not going to be getting a ton. But in January, that doesn't necessarily change. I'm not looking to replace Gleison Bremer in free agency or even in January. What I am looking for is somebody that can offer more than Danilo currently has in a back four, and somebody that can offer change up minutes like Cabal was doing. I think you can achieve that in just simply bringing in one free agent just to get you to January and then go after one of your top targets. I'm kind of baffled at the fact that they won't. And I mean, you have some okay names. If you're just looking, again, safety net. We're not looking for the next guy for 5 years. I just need a safety net. A guy like Soleil, a guy like Kyer even. I know Ramos is out there, 38 years old. I was always a no. You know what? I'd open to it, but not really. There are a couple names there that could be interesting again as safety nets. Because if one more guy goes down, and hey, knock on wood, I count Danilo as nothing, especially at the center back. We're looking at Savona, and even there we don't know. He stepped up, he started to go up again, but he had a little bit of a lull there at the right back position where there were some rocky performances. Then he started picking up again as of late, got the call to the Azzurri. I don't know, is it more risk or is it more trust in who they have and trusting the process and staying the course, riding it out till January? How do you feel about it all, Omer? And of course, I will put the poll question in here on whether you think Juve should bring a free agent in.
I don't know why. What's the stance on just not going for free agents? But I'm sure if you ask Giuntoli, he has some sort of a reason for it. I don't think it's a rule. I think it just he has some sort of a plan and specific guys he wants to bring in, maybe. But I have no idea. It does strike me as weird, especially
It's
given the
weird
situation.
how adamant and just everyone across the board, Mirko Di Natale, Nico Skira, no free agents,
Yeah.
period. So at the left back role,
Hmm.
it's Cambiaso, and I know there's only 9 games from here until the window, okay? The problem is they're every 3 and 4 days. And 9 games in a row, what are we just talking about? Hey, I don't choose these segues for no reason, everybody. Hey, not just a hat rack, okay? Injuries, overload, games, your fear is that. One of the names brought up in this chat immediately was who? Cambiaso. Cambiaso would be at the forefront now. He is not going to play all 9 consecutively. We are also 2 points away from top spot right now. There's one hell of a battle at the top. We've already pissed away stupid points, taking chances on a guy that just showed you he just can't hack it in this setup with this four-man backline. Rui now is going to have pressure in any of the games he comes in. We also haven't necessarily been super convincing against any easy opponents. I don't want to risk or sacrifice anything. So maybe one of the choices out there with a little bit of experience could have helped, could have done something, and you would have had almost 2 weeks to just get some type of conditioning, integrate. Again, just a safety net. A safety net just to offer some safe coverage. Rui, not the big thing. Center back, that's the big one. Because Savona now is going to have to step in there. Danilo, I have zero faith in Danilo. I would have liked them to see one free agent. The other reason is, in January, I don't expect you to get two. I don't expect you to pull two center backs in January unless you get very fortunate on the circumstances. So I even think that's sketchy, and you still have to bring a Vice Vlahovic. Some fans feel you can ditch the Vice Vlahovic now and just focus on the back line. Do you feel that way, Omer?
At the moment, now considering Cabal, yeah, might be. Because Cabal was covering two positions. It was also a center back option in case he was needed. That creates even more problem. I think Danilo gone in January is out the window now. I don't think it'll happen. And that's why I think Juve will sign one guy. No idea who. I don't know who the targets are, who they have in mind, if it's going to be some experienced guy to patch things up or some youngster for the future. Personally, I don't like young defenders that much, and not at the level we play at. So I would go for like a Kyer instead of some young prospect, at least till the end of the season. But it's a huge problem. It might have cost us the season, truly.
67% believe Juve should have even looked at free agency. I'm still not at the point where I don't bring in a Vice Vlahovic. I'm not there, everybody. And that's why I say, like, this free agent thing and this reluctance to dive into it. And I mean, maybe Mota again, like I said, is it taking a major risk or is it showing major trust in these players that have gone to this? Is it playing into this meritocracy type thing with the merit and whatnot, not wanting mercenaries? I don't know what it is.
Well, it's
but
both.
It could be a combination
all
of
of it.
everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're in the middle of a real dogfight in Serie A.
I'll make a prediction. You're going to see McKennie at center back at some point. You're definitely going to see him at right back. Can guarantee that right now. And maybe it's nice to have him there. I thought he was fairly decent when he played there. And I think you're going to see him at center back at some point, maybe just for rotation. And if you do, I think they'll aim more for left back, center back, more than just a pure center back. And Danilo is going to stay. That's why I think they'll sign one.
So you believe Danilo stays now with this circumstance and everything going on?
Yeah.
So we probably bring in one defender?
Yeah, and still going for the Vice Vlahovic.
Yeah, because the news of Nico Gonzalez coming up there, being the Vice Vlahovic, playing as his 9. I mean, when you look at the wingers, Imbangula can't be forgotten about completely. You've got Yildiz playing out wide. You've got Chico Conceição is 1A on the right, no matter what. And Weah is doing great. Nico Gonzalez is a changeup at the 10 role, and he's going to get a shot at helping out up top behind Vlahovic. I'm not 100% sure that stops me from going after a Vice Vlahovic. But as far as the defenders go, I have no faith in going into the crunch time with Danilo being one of your safety nets. Not at center back anyways.
I think our
And
hands are tied right now.
even barely at fullback. I don't think our hands are tied. If you would have,
I Okay, that's
again,
the last
going
point.
into free agency, utilizing that, Kyer, 2 weeks to get in there, get conditioned up, play. He's not going to be playing right away anyways. But if you were in a pinch in a back four, I'd probably say I'd have more faith in Kyer. That gets you by to January. Danilo, you can make a move. Maybe you could swing a move with Man United for Xerxes. That's very wishful thinking. I'm saying you then bring in Kiwior, and he gives you left back coverage and center back coverage. You've utilized one free agent, and you've found a deal for one, and that's even banking on the fact that you find a deal in January. But Danilo for me is almost unplayable, bro. He's almost unplayable.
Yeah, he might be, and the situation is complicated now. Look, that's the point of the season where you will bring in Caceres to cover whatever position you need. We don't have that option right now, and I have no idea what our financial situation is. How much can we afford to spend in
And that's
January?
another reason why
That's the thing. That's
this
why I'm unable to tell you. Yeah, we should definitely go for a free agent. Oh, we have money to make some deals happen.
it's why I'm so uncertain about this, like, straight up just adamant feeling towards no free agents. It's crazy, but these guys that
Look,
are going to get the
maybe they do
call.
have the money. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe they do have the money. They do
Let,
have some sort of a plan. Maybe.
let's go through
I
this list real quick. And there are Storm the Barn questions in. Love it. You guys know you don't have to wait, okay? You don't have to wait for the Storm the Barn session. We will get into this, okay? The list. Jonathan Ta, Eric Dyer, Lukumi, Ortiz. They both have fees to their names, somewhere around 15 million euros. Kiwior, probably only a loan. Dragusin, Harry Maguire. Omer, give me your top two. And it doesn't even have to be someone in this. You could pull somebody from the free agent list, but give me your top two candidates that would be at the forefront for you. And everybody in the
um,
chat, obviously, you know the drill. Get in here. Let me know your top two.
from the names you said right now, I gotta give you the top three. Like I like Lukumi. I like the option. I think he is a decent defender and a former Mota student, so might be easier to interject him. Kirio is fine. It's just I haven't seen him play in such a long time. He sounds like a good option and all. Does have history with Mota and in Serie A. But Dragoshin would be my top pick right now if it's possible. Even
Yeah.
yesterday for Romania, he was monstrous for Romania. And
My
again, knows the club already, been in the environment, been at the league, played well for Genoa. If he's an option, then he's my number one option.
my top two are, and in no order, but Kiwior and Dragusin. Kiwior for obvious reason. He can also cover at left back, which I do believe should be very, very important for Juventus. Dragusin, because I remember when he was in on the Pirlo season and everything, I just feel like he's got the characteristics that would actually thrive under Motta. And I think he makes a lot of sense. And again, also some familiarity there between Juventus and the player. Those are the top two for me. And obviously, because I think you can work those, like I said, nothing long term. You could probably get away with some short term moves just to get you by, a couple safety nets. And then in the summer, you deal with things accordingly. Those are the top two options for me. Looking at the chat here, it's let's see what everybody's kind of feeling. Dragusin would be a nice comeback. Lukumi would mean dealing with Bologna though.
Yeah,
True,
that's the
true.
thing.
Kiwior, Dragusin, and maybe Ta. Three there. Dragusin, Kiwior. Number three, Lindelof. I forgot to mention Lindelof. Lindelof, you guys know where I stand on that one. I'm not, even when he was getting a lot of praise, I know based on just, you know, looking at him, his attributes, his style, it would make sense looking at just that for Mota because he does like to progress the ball and how he plays and everything. But for me, I've never really rated him too much, and he doesn't really excite me, to be quite honest. Omer, what are your thoughts on Lindelof?
I'll echo what you said.
Yeah,
Exactly that.
it
I was
makes
never
sense from a
impressed with him.
characteristic point of view, but he just, yeah, I don't know. I've never really rated him, and I'd probably pass. It'd be a pass.
Yeah.
Sergio Ramos, 38-year-old Sergio Ramos. A lot of mixed feelings with that one with fans, obviously,
Mm.
because he's such a polarizing guy, and a lot of people just straight up hate him. Um, I was always no, no, no. But in the free agent world, like I said lately, people have been asking me, and I said, you know what? It would depend. It would depend on a lot of factors. Fitness, because at 38, like, can he even be a safety net? Can he even be a safety net? We need safety nets. And if you're even questioning that, it's kind of tough. But if you were looking at the bench and you had to pull a 38 Ramos over Danilo, even at 31 or whatnot, based on what Danilo's shown so far, it might be Ramos. Let's be serious. So is what it is. But I'm looking towards those guys. I gave you a couple other names I'd look at free agents that weren't Ramos, but Juve doesn't want to do that anyways. So here we are. Is what it is. Adam Kahn, Lindelof for Sweden. There you go. There you go. Olaf Melberg. There's a blast in the past there. Olaf. Olaf. Good old Olaf.
I
Yeah,
like
so
him.
everybody's kind of on the same page as far as what's going to happen with or who we want to see out of this list. But we got to get there first, everybody. 9 games, all jam packed from here to the window. What are the odds? Nobody else goes down. Hey,
Oh,
I hope it happens that way. But like I said, you're kind of playing with fire right now. If you're Juve, hopefully we get to that window unscathed further, so that we can actually bolster this. Because that would be a shame to have wasted 2 weeks practically getting somebody, just one body in, as some help, some coverage, some protection in such a tight race. And, you know, I don't even want to say it after what I said and what went down with Bremer, but it would just be a shame because it's a very, very tight race. So hopefully everybody stops drinking Prime and stays fit and rocks it for UV. Okay, so let's go, boys. Don't be drinking that shit. Okay. Now, do you think we got some off Juve question, which are great too? By the way, Ranieri making his return to Roma, one of the 2 clubs he said he would only come out of retirement for, and that was Roma and Cagliari. Do you think Ranieri will make Roma a threat?
I thought about, maybe it's not a nice thought. I think at this point that they're taking advantage of him because they know he'll say yes, and they fucked it up so badly, the management, that they kind of had to call him because what sane manager would take this job right now? And the names they had were all over the place. I mean, there wasn't like something they were aiming to with the players they have. Bringing in even Juric after the players you got, the coach who solely plays 3-5-2, and before that Mourinho and De Rossi, and I don't even want to go further, but they have no plan, and now they wanted Edin Terzic and Max Allegri and Frank Lampard and some other ridiculous names. And Ranieri is the kind of guy who, first of all, I love him. I think he's a phenomenal character in the culture world, and tons of admiration to him. Might have pulled off the biggest Cinderella story ever in football. Um, but I know Ranieri is the kind of guy who organizes the locker room structurally more than a tactical genius, and maybe that's what Roma needs in the near future, because it seems like just absolute chaos back there. And right now they're avoiding bottom half of the table. That's their goal right now. So yeah, maybe I think Ranieri is a good man to deal with that. A good coach. Just poor guy, man. He already retired and called back again to deal with another shit show. That's like the third time it happened. And also
I
for Roma, he was there in 2018 for the exact same reason.
I gotta say, okay, to answer the question in short, no, he's not gonna make Roma a threat. He is absolutely the right guy right now because he's going to come in and just steady the ship, and he's a no nonsense individual. We've all seen it. We all know the story about him being challenged by club owners to not play players, and he still doesn't. He says, if he's on my roster, I do what I want. And he got fired for it and played the guys. Like, he is no nonsense. The problem there is that coaches haven't been the issue at Roma. He's going to come in, he's going to do a job just to get them by, but there is absolutely no plan from the top. So, do they become a threat? No, absolutely not. Will he help them? Will he save them? Probably save them from where they're heading. Yes. That's really it when it comes to Roma. If we are going to stay on outside news, also getting back to Juve and potential pickups and everything, hell of a situation forming with Lyon and a provisional relegation punishment due to the debt of 508 roughly million euros.
The peanuts.
They could be in a situation where if they don't, they basically have to start cutting into that to avoid that relegation kicking in. So the talk out there is come January, there could be some deals to be had for teams. And obviously everybody's going to be looking at Ray and Cherki. But man, do they have any defenders that are worth jumping on in January? Do we have the money though? Oh, tell you, that's the one thing. You might not have
Okay,
the
then.
cash flow to strike. But Cherki's going to be top of the list, and no doubt, no doubt. Hell of a situation there,
Okay.
though, with Lyon.
Yeah, another sad story, to be honest, of another once great club fallen back from the current world of football, just couldn't keep up, and that's the price. I'm guessing it's not the first one. We'll see. And in about 5 years, we'll have more clubs that we remember fondly who just couldn't handle. And trying to be great again, trying to matter again, and play on the big scenes. When it doesn't work out, it takes a huge toll, and that's what happens. I'm sad to see it, to be honest,
It
and because it just saddens me. Before Paris Saint Germain, like Lyon, were the French team, and they produced tons of magnificent players, and they were a joy to watch. Just too bad they had a good academy, and hopefully they'll come back in a few seasons. Looking at their roster, I mean, at their defenders, I would take Taliafico, Nicolas Taliafico. I,
Taliafico's in there.
I don't know if we have another non-European spot,
We
but
don't.
that's we don't. Yeah, okay.
And
Well,
that's
maybe he
what
has a European passport,
and
and
that's what
but yeah.
sucks too about the whole situation with Juve is it's
Hmm.
got to be pretty select. Um, Liam Delap, that name came up for striking role. See what happens. Obviously with Ipswich there, what 6 goals, 11 matches, somewhere around there, whatnot. A lot of clubs looking at him. That's just a name that came up. That's also floating around in the news. Everybody, we're gonna keep it rolling. Tuna coming in here. By the way, get those likes up, everybody. Let's go. Starting to
Hmm.
get those vibes. We might only sign a Kiwior and no one else in January. Anyone else feeling similar? Well, Omar believes that Danilo's staying put. So you're not alone, I don't think, in feeling that. I'm kind of the feeling that I don't know what the hell they're gonna do because I'm surprised there's not even like any slight murmurings around any free agents. Like, so for me, I have no idea what they're gonna do. But one for sure, I still expect a center back and a vice Vlahovic. They might keep Danilo around to just say he's outside coverage at fullback. So who knows? But Omer, we could very much see this scenario that Tuna's talking about.
Again, sorry. Where's the
One
question?
defender, like literally only Kiwior or one defender and no one else. Not even a vice Vlahovic though. Maybe.
Again, if I knew what our sort of our financial situation was, I could estimate. I have no idea. I'm guessing Kiwi, or let's say he's a loan till the end of the season. I guess it's not a free loan. Um, what do we have? 10 million, 15 million? Are we selling like the Bangula talks? Are we selling anyone else? Maybe some youngsters? I can't estimate. I have no idea what our situation is. Um,
We'll have to. We just have
yeah,
to wait,
I'll have to
everybody. We
wait and
just have
see.
to wait. Is Milik still injured? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. End of
It makes no
December.
help.
End of December timetable. Also saying potentially January. So let's see. Forza Juve Liverpool might have 3 key players leaving on a free next summer. If you could pick between Virgil van Dijk, Salah, or Trent, who would you choose to bring to Turin?
Well, my guess is Trent is going to Real Madrid, and he's still a young player coming with a big salary. He's not one to. He'll find a big club, and we can't afford him, and I don't want to take him, to be honest. So Salah or Van Dijk? Wow, I think Van Dijk.
Huh.
Van Dijk. If we end up signing both Conceição and Nico, yeah, I don't think we can afford Salah as well.
Yeah. Man, out of the 3, it would be Trent for me if I could choose. Because, oh my God, you'd slap one on one flank, Cambiasso on the other, and let's go off to the races, baby.
Oh, he's such a bad defender at
Yeah, but
defending.
you know, you do what you
It
gotta
would it
do,
wouldn't
man.
fly. It wouldn't fly in Italy. He wouldn't make it. You have to
Oh
be like
man,
sort of defensively sound.
come on.
I have no faith in him. I think he's a player
Uh,
very much suited to the Premier League, and no coach is going to enjoy him in Italy.
I don't think it's at the point where he wouldn't hack it in Serie A.
No,
Come
it's not
on.
that he wouldn't hack it. Like he is, uh, uh, he has gotten to where he is, being a good player. It's not like a Paredes case who were just lucky to be in great teams and provided nothing. Um, no, I'd still go with Van Dijk.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Salah's hard to.
Imagine.
It's just Salah's really at the tail. He's really. It's still so good though. Nico would definitely not stop me from Salah. I'll tell you that. Chico's great, but I'm thinking like
Mhm.
Jesus, man. More firepower up top. Chico, Salah yield is like that's grow. And I always have liked Salah, even when he was with Roma. I liked Salah, and he was a great player to watch.
Oh, he's so good.
Um,
He's a phenomenal player. There's a risk there. Are you getting him where he still has some juice in him,
yeah,
or are you getting like a finished product
I'm
after
gonna
I don't
leave
know
it at
how many
this.
seasons in the Premier League?
The terms matter. If you get Salah on like cheap, like if it's respectable wage and everything like that, I'd probably lean in that route. But for me though, I'd probably go Trent. Probably go Trent out of those guys. Swarit, early thoughts and feelings going into Villa and Milan. So Milan first, and then obviously Villa Park for Champions League. My early thoughts on the Milan match are obviously let's get everybody that's currently out back fit. Cope Miners sounds like he's getting back into the rhythm physically. I believe you can walk into Milan and beat that side. Like, I actually have a good confidence going into the game against Milan. With Villa, I'm curious to see how that's one of the matches. Villa and City, I'm curious to see how Motta, if he goes straight forward with everything as is and just it's this question about even managers just in general. Like you have certain guys where I believe they'll die on the hill for their game rather than adapt. I think there's going to have to be a little bit of adapting there for Villa, and I'm curious to see it. So I'm kind of going against Milan. I'm very confident. I think we can easily walk in there. I'm not going to say it's an easy game, but there's nothing there leading me to believe we can't walk out of there with 3 points. And I think it'll be a good game, and I think we could control that game. With Villa, I'm going into it with just kind of a show me type, perspective, as I want to see what Motta brings in that particular environment, matchup, and what it stands for us in the Champions League standings right now currently. So that's kind of my early thoughts. Omer, Milan and Villa.
I don't know what to make of all three teams, to be honest. Even Juve, I still don't know what Juve I'm going to get every match. The one that creates tons of chances and completely dominates the game with the comfortable wins, or the one who couldn't, for the life of them, break the defense and create a shot from within the area, especially after international break. Same goes for Milan. What Milan are you getting? The one who concedes three from Lecce, or the one who beats Real Madrid and Inter at the Derby?
Yeah.
Um, and even Aston Villa. I mean, they had I'm looking at it now, terrific start to the season, but now they're like 5 games winless. 4 of them are losses to Crystal Palace, Tottenham, Club Brugge in the Champions League. But again, they also beat Bayern in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And the beginning of their season was actually phenomenal. I don't know what to make of both those teams. Yeah, we need to. I think we'll definitely win one of them. One of them will be trickier than we expect.
Yeah. It's gonna it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait though, because the international breaks kill
Oh,
me.
can't wait.
I wanna get back. I wanna see it. I wanna see it. I wanna see us line up in these matches, these big ones, 2 points out of top. Just a big one. But you're right. It's tough to really make much out of everyone, and Juve included. Like me and Skanga are on different wavelengths because he's up here, and I told him I'm kind of at this point where I don't know about our team, and I've just brought myself down to the middle. I'm not low, I'm not high. I'm just like, show me, just show me. I want to see consistency. I want to see us put together a healthy run. But I need us to be a little bit more convincing. That's all. I just need us to be a little bit more convincing. I think there's still some scenarios where you're pulling wins, but you're playing with fire, kind of playing with fire. That's all. But again, you're right in the large part with all three of those teams. A little bit unknown, a little bit of unknown. But if Dusan goes down, then what if Danilo for Xerxes is a true possibility? Gotta do it and look for D. I mean, in general, let's just say Danilo for Xerxes is an option. It wouldn't be an outright purchase, okay? It's not going to be that type of a move. But you can maybe swing in Danilo to get the rest of the loan free, and maybe they'll do wage something, right? Like you'll get something out of it. But this big thing with Xerxes is kind of, it's interesting to me how I've been saying for a while, I don't feel Vlahovic is this massive detriment to our game. I still don't feel he's a massive detriment to this current Juventus side, like many fans make out to be. I find it funny that you've got a guy that's on 9 goals, sure, some are PKs, but he's on 9 goals, 1 assist, and the guy that's supposed to make or break everything didn't offer a whole lot more in production, but I know Xerxes is supposed to offer way more in the build-up and how he plays that role, etc. I still don't see a team that is actively wanting to attack, like truly attack all out. Like everything is based around defensive stability and keeping the ball first and foremost. That's why I just don't think this thing is crazy. But as far as a vice and a backup, I don't think it has to be Xerxes. I think with Dusan, whatever happens in the summer is going to happen, and then we'll look to change-ups. But Danilo, now, if you go, you definitely have to bring in two. Have to bring in two D-men. It brings up all the same things you talked about, Omer. Where are we at financially? Can we do that?
Mhm.
Doesn't make sense. Like, it's free agency again would have made the most sense for one move right now.
Mhm.
That would have made the most sense, and then look to January. But I don't know what they're gonna do. It's not a given that Juve says we want Dragusin and Kiwior, and they get them either. Like, it's not a given. That's why
No.
this stance is wild to me.
And
But I don't
and
know.
and clubs know that.
Yeah,
Clubs know that Juve in January are desperate for a defender. Someone here in the chat said, "Don't deal with Italian clubs." I agree.
yeah,
And they'll milk us dry just for as much as they can because they know that's what they do in general. Um, it's a huge problem. Just straight up the question, Dushan Xerxes for Danilo in January? Yeah, go for it. Just have to sign two center backs
yeah.
or a center back and a fullback.
And
That's
you got to
that's
get somebody that's got some, fullback coverage. And I wasn't speaking to you, Pino, about hating on Duchan. It's just in general, many fans just feel he has been a detriment and whatnot. So just I need to see more, and I do see a Storm the Barn in there that will play into kind of what I'm saying. So we've got Storm the Barn. If you need to sell 4 players from the current Juve roster, who would you sell? So we have to sell, and you got 4 guys current roster, Omer.
from the current roster.
Yeah.
Um, Rui, Mbangula. I'm just gonna name the youngsters. Like what's that striker's name? Angele.
Angeli, yeah. So you're just
Yeah,
selling. Okay.
selling all the youngsters.
I would
No, it's a tough one. If
current roster.
maybe
I
Fajoli.
gotta sell 4. Danilo sold.
Oh yeah, Danilo. So yeah, that's a lot.
Danilo sold. Um. Uh, I know it's kind of a tough one, but somebody's getting sold out of the midfield.
Yeah, that's what I
And
was struggling with because it was coming down to right now. As things stand, it's Douglas Luiz, both for value and performances, and I'm having really tough time saying either McKennie or Fajoli.
yeah, I'm open to selling. I'm open to selling even Nico, to be honest. Um,
Mhm.
I, but again, it's harsh because I haven't seen him much. But I'm still maybe even open to selling McKennie. Um, Luis, so Danilo, I'm not ready to sell Luis yet. It's tough. Some of the young guys are gonna go.
Four is a
Rui,
lot.
Rui, Danilo. Let's say somebody in the middle. I'll throw Mac out there, and then maybe another. I think it's a little too soon for Imbangula, to be honest. Especially that 10 million that was rumored. Wouldn't do it. Arthur. I pick Arthur. There you go. Get me out of
Yeah,
this. Juve Pulse.
yeah.
I could create a personalized cartoon artwork of you, your back to the camera, ideal for printing and displaying on your wall. Okay.
Okay,
So what, you want to do it? Go ahead. Let's do it. Let's set it up. Reach out to us. Reach out to us on DMs. Let's make it happen.
cool.
What do you think about Juve playing on ball possession but not creating chances with it in the final third? Oh, I've been screaming it from the rooftops. I've been screaming it from the rooftops. Like, the possession's great, but it doesn't mean anything if you're not punishing. And if you're letting teams hang around in games when you got to be killing. Yeah, I think there's another level, another gear this team has to hit before I reach the levels of Skanga, you know? Omer, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like we've been talking about it for like every other match, and yeah, there's definitely another gear in there, and I don't like meaningless possession, and I think we're not seeing a better product by now, mainly due to injuries. So there was no consistency, and they kind of had to improvise a few positions in attack, and that's why we haven't gotten like the chemistry we're expecting, and we're a bit more dependent on like personal brilliance of our guys. Having said that, almost all of our goals are like open play, passing game balls. Like we just need to make more of that because eventually after the few draws in the beginning, eventually we crack teams down one way or another. We find a way to score, except for Stuttgart, of course. Yeah, I think there's still another gear and think we're going to hit it. If it weren't for the injuries, we would have seen a better product already. That's my general thought.
Yeah, it's like, and my feeling, I've said this on some recent shows, even, that
Hmm.
it's like we've shown that we can unleash. You can empty the clip and you can fire and you can just play that game. But I truly do believe Mota does not want that. That is like in scenarios where you're chasing something. You're chasing a draw, you're chasing like result or whatever, like we did in Leipzig. And then we're thinking, okay, this is the kickstart for the attack now to take us from there. But what I've come to find and what we've seen is that that really isn't it. Like, you, Mota wants this balanced game. He believes in defense first, and he believes if you keep the ball, that opponent will struggle to score, and that's the basis of everything. And I don't think we're gonna see this attack go on tilt. I think we're gonna see a lot of what we've seen so far, and you do kind of run that risk of what Mota sees a lot of last year and even so far now is a lot of draws. You run that risk because you don't want to open up any opportunities for the opposition. And at the same time, you're kind of hindering your attack too and how many opportunities you can get because it's all about balance. And he doesn't want to tip the scale too much on that front foot. I don't think we're going to see this team open up. I really don't think we'll see it. I'd
I,
love to be wrong on it, but I don't think we'll see it. I think we'll see this balanced, patient squad throughout.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I only believe you'll see that crazy attack when we're in the mode or something's happened that you need to. Like you've gone down in a game, whatever. Like I think it's going to be reactionary, which is fine. But I think you could still achieve balance and give a little bit more to the attacking side. Like I said, 80 something
well,
percent possession in the opening 12, 15 minutes against, I can't even remember the side, but to come away with two opportunities is just, that's not it for a team that's looking to reach certain aspirations, right? Like certain ambitions. You got to learn to punish ultimately.
yeah.
So,
On the other hand, it seems like Yildiz is getting into form right now and start having his name on the scoring sheet more often. And Coop is back, and it seems like he's doing fine right now. Chico gets his name on the score sheet. Wea gets his name, and so there is like some sort of an awakening, if you would like to call it that, in the attack from the players, and we're seeing. I think they're just more in shape after the beginning of the season, first 10 matches, and now they're kind of hitting their peak, which is awesome. I hope they can keep it till March at least. And so yeah, something is waking up at Juve, and we gotta remember, like, there's always another team on the other hand who work all week and prepare on ways,
Yeah.
especially in Italy, on how to shut you down, how to nullify you, how to keep you out of the box, how to mark your target guys. So sometimes it works out. Sometimes the plan is good and it works out. We have seen you go for it in Champions League and kind
Yeah.
of letting go of that mentality. So yeah,
We'll
it
see.
depends where you're playing.
We'll see. We'll see.
Mhm.
When's the next? And we got to start talking Azzurri. We got to spend a little time talking about the Azzurri currently. Pino saying, when's the next Ask Gio? Love Pops. Yeah, I haven't been able to tee it up, but I'm hoping to get one done very, very soon with Gio. And Pino saying, waiting on my merch to arrive. Let's get a limited edition drop. Ask Papa Gio. Listen, we got. Actually, already some current new stuff you guys might have seen. First off, we got a new logo. Hasn't come up on this one, but we got some new logo with some new swag around it and stuff like that. So obviously, you could see the Mola in there and the 3 stars, the AJC, obviously making black and white stripes in the center of that screen there. So yeah, cool little design. Hope you guys like the new logo. And then of course we got the latest Chico merch. So people were waiting for Chico designs. There you go. The celebration there, and people are loving the Chico design. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. Having a lot of fun there. I have more designs coming out very, very soon. So yeah, just stay tuned. Look out for those. We thank you very much for all the support. Literally, super chat, memberships. By the way, anybody that's been gifted a membership or has a member that wants to join the private chat, reach out to us. Let's plug you in there, okay? But thank you. We do have to talk about the Azzurri. Obviously, getting the job done against Belgium there was a 1-0 victory. Your thoughts on that game, Omar, and just the Azzurri in general? Locatelli obviously back into the mix there, found some minutes later on in that game. Cambiaso, not the strongest performance there, but what do you think?
I don't know what to think. I mean, Italy are entertaining right now. Um, oh, that whole Nations League, I don't know how seriously those guys take it. I'm kind of enjoying Italy at the moment, and what we're seeing from them. They seem a lot more structured than what we've seen in the Euros. Thank you for taking Locatelli finally.
I wonder how long he had to hum and haw over friggin' Cristante.
And then he apparently was shocked with what he's seen in training from Locatelli, a completely different guy. Blah 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 blah. Come on,
Yeah.
just succumb to the pressure. That's what happened.
Yeah. Was Rovella good? I still have my money on it. Rovella was fine. He was fine. Nothing crazy, but nothing bad by any means. A little bit shaky, probably. I don't know. Just after the strong start from Italy and when they found the goal, got a little bit shaky there for a bit. But overall, he was fine. Rovella was fine. I think the game in general, the first half was probably strong. Let up after the goal. They looked unbelievable out of the gates.
Yeah,
Unreal. But after the goal, a little bit of a let up. And then the second half, I really didn't like at all. Way too passive. And lucky, they're fortunate not to concede several goals to Belgium the way they played the second half.
yeah.
So,
Belgium had quite a lot, but again, I don't think they like. I think they kind of not gave up, but they took their foot off the gas for the players mainly.
and that's like almost putting it lightly because of how passive they played. And it was literally like their opportunities were pumping it up, and Ritegi almost found one big save there, but it was like, man, I don't know. It just, I really didn't like that second half. We did, however, get ourselves into pot one for World Cup qualifier draws. Okay. So that's a positive. They play France tomorrow in Milan, sold out San Siro. And this one will be for top. Again, it's Nations League. We don't go crazy over it or whatnot. France off a probably shock draw there with Israel. I believe it was 1-1.
No, nil nil.
0-0. I thought it was 1-1. So 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, surprise there. But both teams are going to probably get after it to try and get that top spot. It'll be one hell of an atmosphere, and it'll be a fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going into it with like crazy like nerves or anything like that, because whatever happens happens. Again, I'm not really super invested in this tournament whatsoever, so it'll just be good to see them in this moment, in this type of scenario, and what they can do as a
Did
look
you
ahead to the
miss?
future.
Did you miss Rabiot? Are you excited about seeing Rabiot play in that match?
I don't miss him. uh I'm maybe excited just because I want to see him get skinned. I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. What do you
What a
think about him? Are you
character!
excited? Do you miss him?
Oh, absolutely not. To be completely honest, haven't heard his name in like 2 months. Like
Yeah.
during the game, he was suddenly on the pitch, and the announcer said his name. Like, oh fuck, Rabiot. I thought like
R-
he retired.
Rabbit
I
who?
know after leaving Juve.
I
Rabi
like
who
that. Rabbit
exactly?
who? Rabbit who? Rabbit who? Which
No,
two
I
out
didn't
of
miss.
Fede, Barella, and Fratesi would you start for Italy if fully fit? Well, you got what, two midfielders, and then Fede. I'm assuming what, 3-5-2 is what we're going in. So you know what? If you're talking about the game tomorrow, like, or we're just talking in general, we're talking in general. Who you start? Barella has to start. Barella has to be in the mix. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Is Fratesi playing in the midfield? Probably not with the other guys that are going. So Barella, like Tonali, has to be in the midfield. Has to be, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
for me, Luca's got to be in there based on what he's doing this season. Those are my three guys. Like, so Barella's there, and then the other would be Fede in the attack, because I still think you have to find a way to get one of your top attackers in there and involved. Retegi, for me, is the guy right up at the very top. If Fede can just simply not figure out this alternative to just being a winger, then you probably look at Fratesi, But
We're
it would be Fede and Barella for me.
we're talking about Fede Gatti, right?
Oh yes, of
Um,
course. Gatti's got to be the
yeah.
guy, the second striker.
Well, because Suarez is the one who asked it, then yeah, 100% Fede. First name on the score sheet, then the rest on the team sheet. Yeah, Barella has to be there. Fratesi, I feel like we have tons of good options in midfield, and Fratesi is not the top for me. I like Ricci. I like, but my go-to would be yeah, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Barella, Locatelli, and Tonali. My God, what a player!
Yeah, he's great, man. He is great, and it
Yeah,
makes a huge difference. That's a huge difference.
yeah.
The midfield alone. And we all saw it a mile away. What he was going to do at the Euros, and what he was doing, Spalletti was doing at the Euros with that squad, that lineup, like that it was a nightmare. And you could
Mhm.
see it a mile away. Like, that's going to be a disaster. And
Like
it
every
was.
Italy manager has one name that no one knows what he was doing with the Azzurri team. Like Foloruncio, in a few years, you'd look back. Oh, recall that guy? Remember when we gave nationality? Italy gave nationality to Joao Pedro because we had no strikers and he had like half a match, and that's about it. Like every Italian manager does that once in a while. He just brings in a player who has nothing to do. and not skill wise. Just had nothing to do with the Italian team.
Yeah.
But anyway, how about Moise Kean and rolling back the years to last season with Juve
All
with his
right. All right.
finishing?
So I knew it was going to come up, this Moise Kean thing. And it's got people on social media just firing away with, his current form with Fiorentina and everything like that. And I got my thoughts. Listen, he did sweet FA against Belgium. He didn't look good at all. Okay. This whole thing at Fiorentina that's going on, like, and changing my mind. My mind hasn't changed because my mind was always the same. I didn't really care so much about who. I just felt that when you said goodbye to Keane, another striker needed to come in. I said for the whole shot, it's not enough with just Vlahovic and Milik. And I'm not sold on these projects with these other guys, Yildiz, Nico, whatever, stepping in there to be like this other striker. And I'm not into it. As far as Keane goes and what he's doing at Fiorentina, that's great for him. Okay? Little bit of a relaunch. We always talk about what it's like being at Juve. And for a lot to just throw that out the window because a guy is all of a sudden scoring and doing well at that team, it's not apples to apples. It just isn't apples to apples. And I find it almost offensive as a fan of Juve to speak as if it is apples to apples and like, oh, he's doing that there. He definitely would have done it for us. He wasn't. This guy came back from like 0 goals. He's doing good at Fiorentina. Maybe that's his level. And maybe Juve needs to stop buying players from Fiorentina too. Like now that we're on the Fiorentina train, we might have to stop buying players from that team in general. But I'm happy for Moise Kean. I don't regret it for a second. I don't. I regret not finding another body, not finding another guy. But Omer, regret?
Yeah, that's the thing mainly. Just not filling up that spot and getting like that ridiculous whatever happened to Milik, which brought us to this situation. Like, if you ask me at the time, Milik or Keane, who deserves it, one has to stay, one has to go. I would have let go of Milik, but no one would have paid 15 million for him. So at the time when we made the transfer, the money was needed, and 15 for Moise Kean seemed like a lot. Everyone said that. Everyone said it's a good deal. Yeah, Fiorentina is his level. That's where he shines. I'm super happy for him. I hope he continues to shine there and playing well. Maybe be a good backup striker for Italy. But like you said, it's not the same.
It's not. It really, really isn't. And to even make that comparison, like I said, I find it almost offensive as a Juve fan for it to be considered as such. Moise Kean, though, he's on 8 goals in the league. Okay, ripping. And, you've got Dusan Vlahovic on 6. Retegi at 11. Retegi. God, that was a name that when he was thrown up as a potential Vice Vlahovic coming in the summer, a lot of us were like, let's go. But that price tag Atalanta got him for, damn right. What were we hearing all summer? 30 million. 30 million for Retegi. We knew we didn't have the cash to do that. You still didn't have your main guy in and signed in the middle of the park. Retegi would not have come to Juve for 17 million euros. It would have never happened. Like, that's not a Juve price tag.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate scenario there. I would have loved Retegi.
Yeah, and he took an opportunity. He had an opportunity because of Skamaka's injury,
Yeah.
which he took. And I didn't think too much of him, but he have really grown in the past year, maybe. And he's a great striker now. And Bravo, again, Atalanta, maybe it's easier with the way they play for all those young guys. Even Zaniolo looked decent. The Kettler from just couldn't hack it at Milan, and then Atalanta is flourishing. And it happens with so many players already that we have to take it into consideration as well.
Yeah.
Like attacking players that do well at Atalanta, no, don't bank on that too
Yeah.
much.
It's
Rasmus Hoyland. I mean, the list goes on and on.
now what's interesting. So Weah's in there with 4 goals as well. Yildiz has 3 goals. We've got Vlahovic on 6 goals. This is all just in league, by the way, right? So the spread is actually good for Juve as a team. You've even got Savona there with 2 goals. And this Savona
Mhm.
kid, right? So he's got his national call up. So he's got the international call up for the Azzurri. Spalletti was saying some good words about him as well and everything. Like Savona is a very, very interesting one. And like I said, maybe just maybe the faith in this kid is what's given Juve this feeling like they can just bow out of free agency, not worry about it whatsoever. They're going to ride it out. Savona's been a pleasant surprise, a very pleasant surprise this season. For Ruhi, if he's going to be the one stepping in at that left back role, there's going to definitely be what we call forced growth because we know there's a lot of work that's got to be done there, a lot of polishing, way more polishing than what Savona had to go through. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Cambiasso cannot play the 9 games back to back to back to back. Like, it can't happen. So somebody, it's going to be Danilo, it's going to be Ruhi. Somebody's going to have to go on that left outside. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens. All we can do is hurry up and wait, everybody. That's it.
Mhm.
That's all we can do. In terms of Juve, I can't wait for them to get back to action. Milan and then Villa. We continue to learn more and more about this team. We continue to learn more and more about Giuntoli and Mota as time's going on. And now we're seeing very, very strong in their stance and very adamant about pushing forward with this new project and what it's going to be. You get some rumors here and there, and sometimes we get a little worked up about them, but that's because of the unknown that's around them. But right
Mhm.
now, I mean, again, no matter how I feel about the games, and I might be here with the games, the overall project, if you're asking me about the overall project, I'm actually up here. I'm up
Mhm.
here with the project from a game to game basis. What I'm seeing with Mota and the team, I'm right here.
Yeah.
But it's definitely moving in the right direction. Definitely in
Mhm.
all facets. And when you see what happened with Lyon financially and everything, I did want to get to this as part of it. We didn't when we were talking about them, but it really goes to show you like Juve and how we're targeted and everything like that. Like that Mercado where we did absolutely nothing, like everything they've done had to happen. You've cut drastically your deficits and everything. You continue to work in the right direction while putting together a competitive team, which is a competitive team right now as we sit early in the season. But let's see what happens from here on out. But Omer, your thoughts in general on the project?
Yeah, let's do a little recap of the season so far. In general, I really like what I'm seeing. I'm really waiting for the games. Yeah, there has been a few tough moments, and but not a lot of them. And we already have things to be proud of. We already have some wins that are might be historical. That 4-4 with Inter, that 3-2 against Leipzig is one of Juve's best Champions League games ever. And like if you'd ask me a match to watch for Juve from Champions League, that will be up top. And so yeah, the next gen project is bearing fruits, and it appears we can rely on some of those players. And yes, there's still some fixing that needs to be done, but I'm excited. We're talking about Juve and football. We're not talking about going on trials in Italy. We're not talking about the prosecutor's office. We are talking about ACLs, unfortunately, but that's a given now every year.
You
I'm just enjoying what I'm seeing right now. I'm enjoying seeing the project evolve. That's great.
and you got me now because of how you're talking about Champions League and that Leipzig game being top. Give me your top 5 Champions League matches to watch for Juve. If I never watched Juve before and I
Okay.
said, give me 5 Champions League matches must watch for Juve. And you can put them in order. You're going to put Leipzig at 1?
And I don't know if it won,
Yeah, yeah.
'cause, uh, but up there, it's somewhere at the top. Let's see. So I already named Leipzig. I'm gonna throw out my favorites. Um, so Leipzig, the Real Madrid. I mean that one was painful, but that 3-0 up until the penalty at the Bernabeu, that was a phenomenal match. The 3-0 against Barcelona, against MSN.
Yeah.
Uh, well, seems to be a theme. 3-0 against Chelsea back in 2013, where they were the reigning champions and Juve were in the second Conte season. One of my favorites. There was a 3-2 win back in 2005 against Werder Bremen. If you remember, the first game we fell to 1-0. We fell to 1-0, then we took the lead with 2-0, and late on we lost 3-2 in the first match. Then at the return match, it was 1-1, and near the end, Team Visa was the goalkeeper for Bremen. He just jumped to take a ball right out of the air, fell on it, and kind of lost it. And Emerson turned away, immediately kicked it in, and was like a fluke goal out of nowhere. That game seemed lost. That 2-1 or the 3-2, both those games were insane.
Yeah. I got if I'm
CR7 versus Atletico. I mean, tons, yeah.
shooting from the hip for me is like 96 Champions League win has to be one of the games.
Hmm.
2003 Real Madrid in Turin, that
Hmm.
game's got to be up there. Ridiculous game, awesome game. Um, Leipzig's gonna be in my top 5 for sure. That was just
Hmm.
insane, absolute insanity.
Hmm.
The comeback Atletico and
Hmm.
Barcelona 3-0 for me
Yeah,
against MSN when nobody saw that coming. Yeah, those are just shooting
yeah,
from the
that's a
hip.
great list.
The 5 there for me, but yeah,
There's a,
it's
there are a lot. Like even
there's a
the
lot like I could go we could
yeah,
do the knee slide game in 15-16 was
yeah,
great.
City
Like
2-1 City. Yeah.
yeah, 2-1 City. Like there's I've got in the 90s, Monaco. There was a great one against Monaco
Hmm.
that Del Piero had bagged a beautiful free kick. Like a ton. There's a ton of games,
Hmm.
but those are the ones just immediately like they stick. They just stick and they are there.
Yeah,
Awesome,
just when
awesome
you
stuff
watched
though.
that Leipzig match, you knew when it ended. You knew that's one of the greats immediately. That's an
Oh, it was
insane match
crazy.
by any standard.
It was crazy. In the 90s though, it was like it kills me going back there because you had 3 straight Champions League finals and my
Hmm.
god. Oh, it's how this team, how that club walked away only the one and even that one had to come in kicks is beyond me. The team was just loaded. Great manager, loaded squad. Insane to me. Insane. Our fortunes, hey, you know what? Maybe they turn. Maybe they turn and for all those finals and whatnot, we start to get the fortune coming back our way after enduring what we had to for so many finals. The Milan ones just pisses me right off because Nedved. I don't care what anybody
Hmm.
says. Maybe you don't win it still. But the game 1000% is impacted with Pavel Nedved on the pitch. 1000%. And
Absolutely.
I needed to see that guy on the pitch for that one. That one pisses me off probably the most. But is what it is. What do you do? And Matt's saying the same thing. Nedved in that game, such a difference. By the way, Nedved getting a fantastic Centurions icon card in FC 25. Oh my God. My ultimate team. By the way, anybody that wants to meet up, join up, and maybe get some rush going or whatnot, it's very, very simple. That is me on PS5. The handle, straight up, AJC Berto. We got to get some games going. Doing rush with a lot of our members and everything, having a blast with it. Omer, I see you on there from time to time. What are you doing? Career mode?
Yeah, I'm doing career mode. I haven't gotten.
Who's the first player you sold?
First player I sold. I traded Milik with Tottenham for Udoji.
Nice little move. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I added some money. It wasn't straight swap, but still.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like the management gave me, they wanted me to buy 2 Italian players. And that was one of their objectives. So immediately Udoji, and then Cambiaso plays on the right. Kept Di Gregorio, Gatti, and Bremer. Then I have Luis, Lucatelli, Cook Miners in the middle. And you don't really have to buy a lot. I bought Andric from Real Madrid, the kid, to be Dušan's backup. And some youngsters just to start working on them. But
Yeah.
I usually do most of my buying in the second season.
One last one I saw in here was you got to pick Teo Hernandez or Trent in the summer. Who are you picking?
Teo Hernandez.
Teo Hernandez.
Easily.
Yeah. I was hyping up Trent earlier, but if it's between the two of them, I go Teo. And Teo, man, he just got another card in FC 25 to 3.6 million for this damn card. It's a sick card though, but even though he's a diva from Tuna Steaks there, it would be Theo. But yeah. Aaron's saying I will sell Luis first thing every career I start with Juve. Douglas Luiz,
he's good in FIFA.
he's got an uphill
like.
battle with the fan base. He's got to get fit. Muscle fatigue. To keep hearing about that is just, it is what it is, everybody. It's weak. Something I talked about a while ago, transparency with the injuries and trying to help the player's case and their perceptions with the perception coming from fans. A little transparency, because when I'm hearing muscle fatigue and we're in November, the first thing that comes to my head is give me a fucking break. But again, that's just me. Get back in there. He should be in the squad list for the Milan game. Nico Gonzalez, who the hell knows? Milik, probably January. Cope Miners getting closer to 100%. And that's the guy we need at 100. I believe in this guy. I've been happy with what he's doing. The floodgates open. What will be? Fun little prediction to wrap up the show. What's going to be the match where Cope Miners gets the first goal?
Ooh.
What will be the match? Will it be Milan? Will it be Villa?
No, I'm not going with Milan and not Villa. I think I'm going to guess the game afterwards, which should be Lecce away. Yeah.
Lecce away.
Yeah.
I say that he gets one. It'll be December 7th. Saturday against Bologna, because I believe we might only see him as a cameo against Lecce. So I'm going December 7th against Bologna. He'll play the first half, maybe take a break, as then we'll have Man City. Let's see. And Juve Pulse, you're still in there. Again, those designs, those cartoon designs, make sure you reach out to us. Reach out to us on our socials in DMs. And Swarit, who gets a te today? Well, we brought him up. We got the Azzurri facing off against Italy tomorrow, so maybe it's Rabiot. You know what? There you go, Rabio. You can take one. You could take one.
Chris-
Lyon in financial trouble, 508 million euros. I could think of another club, a bunch of scumbags, got higher debt than that. Nobody's asking any questions. And in all the legal offices, their banners are hanging everywhere.
Yeah.
We know who they are. Yeah. There.
Cristante can always get a te. Always a good candidate. Just
Yeah,
a
you
daily
know what?
te.
There's one. There's
Yeah.
one. These things are like RKOs, baby, and sometimes you got to machine gun them, and we'll get them going. But you know what? There's 3 for you, Swery. There's 3 for you. You guys, take care. A lot of fun. Omer, always an absolute pleasure, brother. Tomorrow, we can watch Azzurri and just casually see what happens, see what they bring. Look forward to it. And then we get back to business with our boys, Juve, and a big one with Milan. There will be a behind enemy lines return. Man, I couldn't find fans for some of these clubs out there, okay? So Milan won't be a problem. Watch along tomorrow? I don't think so, but you never know. You never know, Swery. Stay tuned. And it might be on playback. So everybody, in the description to this video, you see the link. Go to playback, join our room there. Might be there, but we'll see. Anyways, I'll keep you in the loop on all the Juve news as usual. I'll have some fun content and again, mix it up. As always, no matter what, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Take care.